This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. I was going to talk about CES first, but you know what? I have a question for you. Well, more like a marketing concept for you. And let me see if this makes sense to you. Okay. So one of the hardest things that a marketer can do is convince someone to give them something for nothing. We talked about this before, right? Donations.
Yeah.
Right. Like asking somebody to donate, especially in this kind of climate where like money's tight and whatever, it's like, what is the likelihood of getting someone to donate?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was thinking about like behavioral economics. So instead of framing it as like marketing, like, oh, how do you convince someone to donate? It's more like you look at their behavior and you try and shift behavior according to economics, like buying and selling. Right. So there's this philosophy called, or this like concept called opportunity cost. Okay. So you have to give up something in order to buy something. Right. So you bought the Mac Mini.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you're like, okay, I could have saved that money. I could have spent that money. Like there's all these other opportunities you could have used or you could have done with that same amount of money. You follow me?
Sure.
Okay. So what I think the real issue with donations is, and I just want to put this down because I'm going to like pitch this idea, but I'm totally correct. And I just want to see if you think I'm right or not. So the real issue with donations isn't will you give me money? It's how do I convince you that my opportunity is better than your other opportunity?
Okay.
Does that make sense? So it's like if my story is so good, then I will give you my money that I could have used for a coffee. I could have used for XYZ. Right. So like we're thinking like, can I somehow convince you? And it's like, okay, it's not really about convincing. Well, it is about convincing, but it's really about like you, not versus other donation places, but you versus other expected behaviors. Right. Because like nobody goes out expecting to donate. Right. You're not like, I'm just going to go out today and just donate. You usually just see like random donation things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like those like kids who are wearing the uniforms, like, hey, just buy this chocolate off me. Like you're not like intending to see them, right? It's more like it's out of nowhere. You're like, oh yeah, okay, let me consider this. But then like while listening to their pitch, you're battling like, I could just buy this chocolate on my own, or like, you know what I mean? Like why do I need to buy it from you with the markup of like $12 for a chocolate bar? I could just buy this chocolate bar for like $2. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so. Now let me get into the actual story that happened yesterday. I'm like, oh, I am correct. So that sounds super arrogant, but I'm sure I'm correct. So there's this kid on our street. So we always walk Athena along this like specific route, right? And then the kid has always been putting like little entertaining things in front of their parents' house. I'm like, oh, you have cool parents. So they started with like Snakey. I don't know if you've seen that before, where it's like, so it's a rock snake, and then it's like, add your snake, add your rock. It's like a painted rock. Add your rock to make Snakey bigger.
Okay.
So I'm like, walking by, I'm like, oh, that's cute, right? So you're like building the brand. You're like, okay, that's a nice kid. And then like they'll have like open play places, like they'll like tie ropes and stuff, and like kids in the area can just like climb the ropes and stuff. You're like, oh, that's cool. Yesterday we're walking, and I see like this board where that kid had the snake, and I was like, oh, let me read this thing. Had all these bracelets on it, and it was like, either have a free bracelet, it's like $0, or pay $2 and whatever you pay. Oh no, pay $2 for the bracelet. So either pay 0, pay $2. right? And and then it was like I didn't even read this till I went back. But see, I went back. So when I saw, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I saw the bracelets. I'm like, oh, well, you're giving me something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like bracelets, like I'll buy it. So like I looked at them like, oh, I like this one, but I didn't want to just take it for free. I'm like, So like I'm like, all right, I have change at home. Like I wanted to give them $5, but they didn't have like is like literally just a bowl. And I was like, oh, anybody could steal this
Right,
money. But
right.
I'm like, whatever. It's like a little kid doing it, right? So like it was
Mm-hmm.
like Tara's like, oh, you have to put coins because if you put like $5, it'll fly away. I was like, damn, all right, cool. So I literally made us go back with the money so I can go purchase these bracelets. And I took a photo of it for work because I'm like, this kid convinced me. I notoriously am like, dude, I don't donate. Why don't I donate? Because it's a waste of money. I don't even give money at church. When I was a little kid and then my mom would give money at church, I would snake the
Sure,
money
sure,
and
sure.
like, remember? I'd be like, why are you giving it to them? Like, I'm your child and I have no money. I'm gonna take this $5, buy some candy, and mom will be like, oh, okay. And then she'd like put another five, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, at least
Mm-hmm.
I got my five, right? So how did this kid convince me to do it? And I'm like, you built like a positive brand affect. Every time I walk by, I was like, you're doing some cute initiative. And then you had this thing where it's like, you can take the bracelet for free or you can come back donate. So it's like, it's my choice, bro. Like, am I going to donate or just snake a bracelet?
Right.
And then it was like when I went back, it said like my parents will match any donation. So me and Tara were laughing. What if I put $1,000 in there? Like, would they hold up their end of the bargain? You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Oh my god, I didn't expect it to be this much," you know. But like, so here's the bracelet that I got,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so kitty. Another cool aspect of it is obviously they're a Taylor Swift fan because it's a Taylor Swift style bracelet. Those like
Okay.
kitty friendship
Right, right,
bracelets.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like so we got in the car. I bought two of them, and then we got in the car. And then Tara's like, "Oh, did they say something?" It's literally nothing. It's just like letters they just strung together. Like there's no words on here. I'm like, "Oh, that's even cuter," because
Mm-hmm.
it's like the kid's like 3 years old, you
Right.
know. But like they want to build like this. I don't know. Like you can see the entrepreneurship in the kid already.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I was like, if I had a kid, not that I'm gonna have a kid, but like if I had a kid, I'd be like, okay, you want that lemonade stand? Sure, we'll do it, but you have to figure out Stripe because people don't pay with cash anymore; they pay with tap. If you can figure out how to link your credit card or a credit card to a phone, like you know what I mean, like give them a problem to solve. And then Tara was like, "You're taking the fun out of it," but I'm like, I'm trying to teach them an actual lesson that they can take forward because people use Stripe all the time. You know, like if you teach this kid how to build businesses at a young age then your framework just like compounds over time. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Sure.
But how crazy is that? That like this kid just taught me like or
Yeah,
solidified in me
the
the strategy. I'm like, oh, this is it. Like, because how did like I literally went all the way back just to get this thing because I'm like, this kid's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't even know what they're doing. But I'm like, I'm stealing this tactic, bro.
Right.
So I really think like, opportunity cost. You can't just ask people for nothing, or you can't ask people for something without getting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you bake it into, but I mean, that's kind of the same thing because, like, I've seen credit cards where every time you use the credit card, a portion of that credit card goes towards like donations.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
like, you can do it that way, instead of getting like cash back, it goes like donations.
Mm-hmm.
You can get credit cards like that, or like 10 Tree, you're buying a t shirt, but that's just like this bracelet thing. Yeah. So, what do you think? Like, it makes sense, right? Like, who's going to just give you something for nothing? You know?
I think that was the brilliance of it. That you could get it for nothing, but you would feel weird taking it for nothing.
Right? It literally said $0. And I was like, I could take this, but I'm like, like
But
I'd
you
be a
feel
dick.
you feel weird.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You feel bad just taking it for free. Yeah.
And you know what's even funnier? It was $2. I gave them $5 because that was like I had like $5 in coins.
Sure.
And like, but I wanted to give them more because I was like, this is so genius. I want to give you more,
See, yeah.
you know?
So they're doing
But
it
then,
with.
right? But Tara was like, oh, why are you being like so such a
Altruist.
pushover with you, yeah,
Uh,
like not altruistic but like such like you're overthinking your donation, but I'm like, no, I really respect this kid for
no, I
like
think I
teaching
think
me
that's why. I
something.
think exactly. Yeah. I think that's the exact reason.
Mm,
It was a teaching moment in a sense that this was brilliance. This was like
right,
I could have just taken this for free, but now it just feels
yeah,
weird.
yeah. And I was like, oh, you not only did you make me run back but you made me give you more money. And I
Hmm.
was like, how did this work? You know? But like I think that's what like all marketing is just common sense.
Mm.
I really believe that. I don't think, you know, like the best marketers aren't business school students, right? Like Steve Jobs didn't go to business school.
Mm.
Elon Musk didn't go to business school. They're
Oh,
like this self-awareness to like have something happen and then you're like reverse engineer it. Like, well, how did that work?
yeah. Are you on Wi-Fi or?
No, no, no. I'm on LAN
Oh, okay. Because it kind of
or
cut out a
not
little
LAN. Okay.
weird.
Well,
Okay.
what did you miss me say?
Either it lagged or something, but I got it. I think about what you were saying.
Oh, interesting. You're lagging too now.
Yeah, weird.
It's weird. Maybe it's the snow. It's
Who
weird.
knows? Oh yeah. Hmm.
Anyways, but yeah. So the brilliance of marketers is I really don't think you need to be a marketer yourself or like have any education in marketing in order to be a really good marketer. It's just more like you can like see it or not.
Hmm.
You know, it's a great example of this. Okay, I won't name any names. I'm just gonna loosely put this out there. Okay, this may or may not have happened, but so this person or this potential scenario involves a person who manages like a design.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Okay, so like their task was to come up with a design. Cool. All right, design, whatever, whatever. And I was always like, you just need an eye. You need a design eye. Okay. So they're like, hey, what do you think? And the the thing came back with a face cut off straight in the middle, like of the design. And I'm like, did you not see this? Did you not proofread this? Are you that lazy? Like, you know what I mean? Just like you couldn't see right away that like half of their face is missing. I had to be like, yeah, can you swap that photo out because like half their face is missing?
Hmm.
But it's like, why did I need to tell you that? And to me, that's like either like you don't care or you don't see it. And if you don't see it, that's even weirder. Because you
Right.
can make people care. Like that's fine. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you, so do you think that's like an inborn thing or you know what I mean? Like certain people have like a propensity towards being able to see good things or not. It's like critical thinking. Like either you do critically think or you don't.
Yeah, I think so. I know I agree with that. Yeah. Sometimes there's like I was trying to think of something in there was something with some poster and some movie like some movie poster like a big movie or something,
Mhm.
and that came out and they didn't realize or how did this get through where I forgot whose movie it was, but it was like some weird the horse image of the horse like that became the meme, or was it part of the whole plan? I don't
Oh,
know. Like how did it
okay.
get?
Well,
How did that get through? Right. That's the.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, interesting. So, but that's a pretty cool trick too.
That's
If
what I'm
you
saying.
like,
Like, was it
let's
part
go
of the
viral.
plan or not? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Am I like super laggy on your side?
No, no, no.
Okay, you're coming across laggy on my side. I think it's like the snow internet issue,
Who knows?
but whatever. Well, as long as I'm not laggy on your side because you're recording it, all good. Um, okay. So speaking of critical thinking skills, I don't have that much time because I really have to jump to jujitsu after this podcast. So I'm trying to run through these really quick. The speaking of critical thinking, did you see the Mark Zuckerberg thing that came out? So he did like the beginning of the week, he's like, I'm gonna switch to community notes. And I was like, oh, that's funny. That's like what X does, right?
Yeah.
And then like in favor of free speech, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then him on Joe Rogan, did you see that? It's been going viral. I haven't reposted the clip yet. Or listened to the podcast. I was like, oh,
I
this
saw
just happened.
something, but I didn't watch anything. It just came out, or was it an old one?
Yeah, it came out Friday. No, Friday.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Friday. Yeah.
Which is yesterday.
Friday he dropped an episode. Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's why I'm like, oh dude, I'm out of time. But the whole internet's eating it up. So critical thinking. Tara asked me, I'm gonna ask you actually. She said it like she's like, you don't get the joke. All right. So there's a park near us called Earl Bales Park, but Tara always thought it was called Earl Bates. And then one day we're like Earl Bales, and then she's like, wait, when did they switch the name?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm like, there's no way they just switched the name on you. You know what I mean? You probably just got it wrong. She's like, no, this is conspiracy, whatever, whatever, right? So like this is her like life conspiracy. So she's like asked me like, what is your biggest life conspiracy? And I was like, oh, that's easy. And then I started to say it, and then she was like, "No, this is too. No, you didn't get it. It's not serious." Like, and I'm like, "No, but you asked me what a conspiracy, bro. It's conspiracies." All right, so I'm gonna ask you, like, what is your biggest life conspiracy? Where you're like, "Oh, things aren't playing out the way that I thought they were supposed to play out."
Uh,
To her, it was Earl Bales. I'm like, really that? But she's like, it's more jokey. Like we were
sure,
trying to
sure,
have a serious
sure.
conversation. I was like, no, but I'm always serious, bro.
I don't know. What was yours?
Like when we're no, I'm good because mine's a lead in, but I just want to know what yours is, which is like where you're like, oh, that's maybe things aren't the way they're presented in the world. Or maybe for you, you're like, oh, everything I see is like the truth. You know, like when did you get the skeptical eye? Is what I'm saying. Well, I guess
We've
I
always
mean the
had the
first skeptical eye
skeptical
was
eye.
religion for me. Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm like, oh, I mean, technically religion, but I mean, like more recently, actually, for me. All right, if we're gonna go back to the very beginning, it was when I was in Catholic school, and I was like, what's the difference between a cult and a religion? And the teacher couldn't explain it. And I was like, something weird's going on,
Sure.
you
Right.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Because we just read the definition of cult. And I was like, wait, this matches what we're doing right now, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I was like in elementary school. So like, yeah, I guess like, we've always had the skeptical eye, but I'm wondering like, what's your more recent one, I guess? Because like, yeah, it's been since time.
More recent one. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, is all this infighting that's happening, is it all because of like the TikTok stuff from China, like pushing? I think that's what they were
Oh
talking
no,
about
wait,
on.
no, wait. No, but okay. That is a conspiracy. But do you believe that conspiracy? What I mean is where you're like, oh no, something like you're face to face with something, and then you're like,
I think it's
oh, I'm
possible.
being tricked here. Like, oh, so you think that's real? Okay,
I
cool.
think
So
I think
continue
it's
with that.
no. I think
So you think,
well, the whole idea of the ban, but that was what they were discussing yesterday in the Supreme Court because they have 1 week to
okay.
decide.
Oh, that's interesting.
In the U.S. Supreme Court that they were asking these questions, and one of those ones where it's like because or ByteDance part of China, and like that they are. I can't remember the exact line they used, but it was something like this level of I don't want to say misinformation, but just the infighting within the population is all because of it could be because of China or the algorithm, the way this thing works.
Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, okay. So and you believe that?
I
You're
think
like, I've experienced
I
that. I
think
could see it.
yeah, because I see more of those types of videos where there's a lot of arguments and fighting. That's what I see, especially on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. That's a very good recent one. See, I'm not on TikTok. Only the only reason why is from the jump, I was like, it seems a little sketch to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just with like the uh the overly focused algorithm. I'm like, oh, I could just be brainwashed here and like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Joe Rogan and all them were talking about it. You're just like, oh, who's it tied to? Nefarious acts, blah, blah, blah. So I was always hesitant. And something about like reading all of your data on your phone, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. To like accept it, it's in the terms and policies or whatever. It's like we can search your other apps, whatever. So, okay, that's a good one. For me, it was COVID. So remember in the beginning, I was a huge champion of like pro COVID stuff, like, oh, you gotta like social distance, get the vaccine. And then only until looking at the data from scientists, you're like, wait a minute, were we hustled? And then I posted the Dragon Ball Z clip of like Goku, and I used a rhetoric quote that was
Mm-hmm.
going around at the time about like COVID, and it blocked me. And I was like, that's weird. It had nothing to do with COVID. I just used the slogan, which it had nothing, like, didn't even say COVID. It was just like hard times make soft men make, no, wait,
Oh yeah, yeah,
hard
yeah, yeah,
times
yeah,
make
yeah,
hard men. Remember that like
yeah, yeah,
soft
yeah.
times make soft men, something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was directly linked to Gohan about how Goku, because I was watching the series at the time, and Goku and his friends were like, "Oh, Gohan is so soft," and he's like,
Mhm.
they were all like, they're not compared to us, you know. And then Goku was like, "Well, it's because we grew up in peacetime, whatever." So like, Gohan's soft, right? So when they took that down, and it said like, "Oh, there's like hate something on my account," I still have the screenshot because I was like, "Oh, don't forget that you're in a game, a social media game, right?"
Mhm. Mhm.
And then like that to me was like, okay, something's going on. That's kind of weird. But then people are like, no, it's conspiracy. Oh, don't worry, blah blah blah. Like you're thinking too much about this. Just like UFOs, you're thinking too much about it, right? Whatever. Mark Zuckerberg on Friday was like, yeah, we got calls from the Biden administration during that time, and like about how you had to take down posts related to vaccine injury and the potential of it going to like viruses coming out of China. Like even if it was true and like backed by scientists, they were urging us to take it down.
Mhm.
And that's why he went with community notes. Cause he's like, this way. So like he started the week with like, we're gonna do community notes. We're not going to censor anyone. And then later it became like the reason why is because we were getting pressure. So this way we alleviate the pressure. People just like figure it out on their own. What do you think? You seem like you think this is funny.
No, I just think well, he doesn't want to get pressure from Trump, so he's just changing the
No,
rhetoric,
that's what
right?
that's no, that's what people said. Not no, totally. People were saying that too. He's like, oh, he's just kissing the ring,
Mhm.
bending the knee, right? I agree with that. However, to make a statement like that about like, oh, they were like, you're right, totally. Yes, you are falling in line with the Trump agenda. I agree with that. But to say that his team was doing this is like that's just like slander at that point. You
Mhm.
know, like if it's not true, somebody's gonna get sued, bro. You know? And then he was like, I have the emails of this exchange.
Mhm.
And same with Elon Musk was uh the Twitter files, right? Like
Yeah.
you can see that they were before he bought it, they were downplaying specific channels. And I was like, this is 1984, bro.
Yeah, the Twitter
This is like
files is another story that I think that the guy that released it was like there wasn't like full information even out on that. They weren't like implying them to do certain things.
okay, right. So okay, so wait, hold on. Wait. So what you're saying is that this again is a psyop
Yeah.
where Elon Musk is lying and Mark Zuckerberg's lying.
I don't know about Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know enough about that one. But
No, you think Elon Musk is lying?
the Twitter files thing is there's some misinformation spreading about that one too. Yeah.
Okay, but you think that the government doesn't step in to adjust certain narratives?
They no, they're not saying that you have to do this.
Then why did my post get blocked?
They just didn't that's up to Facebook or Meta or whatever. That was
Meta.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they decided just to do that. It's not like I don't think it's like the government would suggest, but there's not there nothing's going to happen if they don't do it.
Right. But then totally, yeah, nothing's gonna happen if they don't do it. But then Mark Zuckerberg's like we would get calls and they would yell at us to take these down and like censor these things. He's openly saying this on the
Yeah,
one of the biggest,
that's
actually the
fine.
biggest
Yeah, I
platform.
understand. I understand. That's fine. But you understand that there was nothing going to happen to them if they didn't do it.
Right. But it's duress. It's like, yeah, technically nothing would happen to you, but like we're still putting the pressure on you. It's like when
No,
you know
no,
dresses,
yeah,
you can't
no,
sign a
they
contract.
tried to like the whole FBI thing or something like that with Apple, right? Trying to find a
Yeah.
back door into iPhone. So they took them to court, but they didn't win that one, right?
Exactly. Right. But what I'm saying is
Apple
like
stood their ground, right? Because they had the
to,
yeah,
for sure.
right.
But what I'm saying is like the fact that the government can come in and try and okay. So Apple, so they do that to Apple. Apple's like, no, we're gonna make it public. We're gonna sue you. Cool, right? Then they do this Meta. Meta's like, oh, we're gonna hush this. We don't want to blow it out of proportion. We're just going to do with what you say. So you're speaking about a world where somebody's brave enough to go against
Hmm.
what they're being told,
Right.
right? But what about the stories where they're not brave enough and things just happen behind the scenes
So they're
and you let it
just so
happen
that
because like
that tells me they're just kowtowing to whoever's in charge instead of actually doing what's right.
right,
So that's what I mean, where it's like they're just changing
right,
it now because if Trump is there, right?
totally, for sure, for sure. But what I'm saying is like
So whoever's in next, they're just
look
gonna
at the
are they
principle
gonna
of it.
change based on that
No, no,
too? Right?
for sure, for sure. But what the thing is, like, we're missing the point of that the government still did that. Someone in charge still asked you to do something that you shouldn't have done, and then you did it anyways.
Sure.
Right. But it's like it takes a very strong individual in order to what you're speaking about is corruption,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. It's like it's corruption. It's like, okay, technically you shouldn't do that, but you're gonna do it, let it happen, whatever, whatever. Okay, this is a small example. Well, it's a big platform, but this is a small example of rampant corruption. So how much corruption that we don't see? That's my real question now. So like when we're talking about the conspiracies and like COVID for me, it's like that was like, wait a minute. If that's not true, if that's going on, what else is there?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like you can believe what the government says all it wants, but knowing that there is corruption on a small and big scale, it's like how corrupt is society? That's where I'm headed now. It's like what's going on, you know?
Hmm.
Or do you not feel that you're like, no, society on general is like not corrupt and like people are good and
No,
like
no,
whatever,
I'm
whatever,
not saying that there isn't corruption. That there is, yeah, of course. People will always try to.
Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah. That's the fault. Oh, that's the issue with people, right? Individuals. So it's how strong are the institutions that can try to mitigate these sort of things, right? That's the problem.
okay, okay. You ever been to Pacific Mall?
Yeah.
Okay. You ever buy anything with cash in order to not have to pay tax
Do I generally
at
buy?
Pacific Mall or any
Well,
other place?
well,
No, no, I'm saying like, have you ever? They're like, hey,
uh,
here's the amount. Here's the amount if you pay with card. Here's the amount you pay with cash.
hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
You've
yeah, yeah,
encountered
yeah,
this,
yeah. Of course, yeah,
and you're like, I'm gonna take the cheaper amount.
yeah. If I have the cash, yeah,
Same. Even if I don't have the cash, I'm like, bro, hold on, let me just go across the street,
right.
let me withdraw. I'll buy this for $10 instead of 10, 15. You know,
Hmm.
10 or whatever the tax is, 10, 13. But like that is corruption.
Hmm.
So if we're talking about playing by the rules, even if there was cash, we'd still have to pay the tax, but we don't.
Right.
We can't get in trouble for like a $10 purchase. So it's like, okay, yeah. But what I'm saying is like everyone does this. This is like a known thing at Pacific Mall. They give you the card price and then they give you the cash price.
Hmm. Hmm.
You choose which one you want to pay, right? So how much corruption is going on at Pacific Mall, right? And that's one example of a bigger example. So I'm saying like these are the principle of corruption is always there. And to think that people will not do things like will pull an apple, like if I sometimes I pay with card because I'm like, I'm not gonna run across the street. I don't want to blah, blah. So I'm like, I'm just gonna pay with card, but I can pay with card,
Hmm.
right? Just like Apple can afford this lawsuit.
Hmm.
But what about people who are like, oh, dude, I can't afford this lawsuit. Oh man, my salary is contingent on me accepting this like conspiracy or this like corrupt act. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we look at it like holier than thou. Oh man, no, they wouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that. They should have been stronger than that. But then we look at ourselves on a human level, on our individual level, and we're like, oh, dude, I would have done the same thing. I do the same thing. I will admittedly say that I choose the cheaper cash
Hmm.
option
Hmm.
versus tapping with card and paying extra. Like, why would I do that? Right?
Right.
Like you see that like train of thought. Like we're admitting we do this.
Yeah. No.
Or at
No.
least
Yeah.
I'm admitting. I don't know if you admit you do it. Yeah.
No. No. But were they asking small people to do that, or they're asking someone that has like
What
a
do you mean?
platform? Like you're talking about the government corruption, or what are we saying?
Yeah, like the meta thing. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, he's just kowtowing to like blah blah. I'm like, right. or he sure, yeah, he's joining Trump's side totally. But like he's also saying something that happened, and if it wasn't true, he's going to get sued. The government may be like, "Why'd you say that? We never did that to you." And he's like, "Dude, I have the paper trail. Here's the emails."
Hmm.
So now I'm like, okay, Meta rolled over for the Biden administration. Now that Trump's coming in office, Meta's going to roll over again. It's like, okay, now we're going to free speech, everyone, blah, 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 right?
Right.
So it shows you what that corporation is like, right?
Hmm.
Which is
Hmm.
like they just go to whoever, right? Which is the kowtowing thing you said.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what I'm saying is like, look at the deeper thing here is
Right.
why is the government doing that? That's 1984, bro,
Hmm.
because that's controlling the narrative, right?
Right.
Do you see where I'm going with? Like
Sure.
you agree with it, or you're like, no, you're still wrong.
The government narrative. No, I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
like
Yeah,
controlling
yeah,
the narrative.
yeah.
But do you think that that's a conspiracy, or like you're like, no, dude, they would never do that? I'm like, dude, you just said.
Um, how do I say this? Is it going to be changing every time there's a different person? Is the government narrative change every
No,
time
no.
there's a different person, or is it the
Like,
same?
what do you mean? Like, Meta's going to say, oh no, now Trump did this.
No, no. I'm
Like,
talking about the
what do you mean?
government. I'm talking about the government. Is it one rhetoric that
Okay.
doesn't matter who's in office, or is it change based on who's in office? So it's
No, no.
Biden's
All
narrative
right, no, no.
or
What
Trump's narrative.
what I'm saying is, right, right. I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter who's choosing the mechanism. I'm saying that the mechanism is there. You shouldn't have the mechanism in the first place. That shouldn't even be on the table, right? Like it's you're at a higher level, which is like
Which mechanism?
who's choosing the mechanism of calling up Meta and being like, hey, you have to censor this.
Hmm.
That's a mechanism, right? But like the choice is like the strategy is whoever's in like office. That's what you're saying. Like, well, who's choosing? Well, that's a strategic thing. What I'm saying is like legally, it seems or not even legally, just like ethically, it seems a little weird to have that ability in the first place. To directly contact an entity and be like, "Hey, censor this in our favor."
Is it necessarily in our favor, or it's the favor that they believe
No,
should
no,
be
but
the
no,
benefit
see,
of
see,
the
but
public?
you're
Right.
again, you're looking at the higher level. You're like, kill one to save 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm going, should you kill? So you're looking at the choice. I'm like, no, look at the mechanism, bro. Like their choice is kill one, save 1,000, or kill 1,000 to save one. Right? That's the choice. But I'm saying the mechanism here is kill.
Hmm.
Like you even have that on the table to kill. I'm saying that you shouldn't have like that ability on the table.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like the mechanism versus the decision.
Yeah, I understand. But I don't know if I can. I don't, because you're using the word kill, right? If I said save, it's to save people.
Sure, save is still save is a mechanism. Sure, there's a mechanism there. I'm arguing the mechanism. Like, should you be able to do that? Should you
Um,
be able to influence news?
to save people's lives isn't that the government's job?
Okay, so then what is the point of the press? So then if
Yeah, right,
you're
right.
saying
That's the
that
press. The press's job is
right,
to hold the
but
government accountable. Meta is not the press, though, right?
but but it's news. It's like a news source.
Uh,
Right? They're like, hey, just stifle the news source. So what you're saying is like they don't play by the rules of the news, so then they don't have the protection of the news.
they're not a news source, though, right?
Right. But this is how it's a mechanism for the news to get out there. Right.
It's
And it's
it's
like, but if you're
different
going to
than
censor
it's like see if algorithm works on fear, right? The spread based on fear or something, or misinformation, then there's an issue
Okay.
with the algorithm. It's not getting out the actual information, correct? It's because the
Right.
clicks
But
happen based on the fear. But then like news is different, right?
okay. So then how come the news doesn't promote all things unobjectively? There's always an objective in the news. You can say like, oh, this is a liberal news outlet, this is a conservative news outlet, this is a Republican news outlet, this is a
Mm-hmm.
Democratic news outlet, Fox News.
Yeah.
So like your point is actually invalidated because it's like we do that all the time, bro. Like you can't push agendas. They push agendas all the time. So it's like if you're just focusing on getting information out there, you can see a clear example of the government trying to get involved in an outlet that distributes information, which is Meta,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're like, oh, but the news technically has to hold itself to a standard. And then I'm like, but then why are there specific news outlets that are focused on an agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody plays by that rule anymore. Nobody's just like, here's the information. Figure it out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is the corruption I'm talking about. This is 1984. This
Right.
is like, you're like, well, but Meta is not a news outlet. Right. So then we can't call Fox News a news outlet. CNN's not a news outlet because like they're still playing that game of like adjusting a narrative. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the craziest thing you could realize because you're like, oh, I'm just being lied to all the time, bro. Because
Yeah.
if you really want information, just source the information yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Meta is no different than Fox News.
Right.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I don't
Meta
think.
is no different
Yeah.
than Fox,
They have
right?
punditry. Yeah.
Now, the craziest thing to me is like, if you look at things in the past, like Operation Mockingbird, which came out, the CIA embedded people in the news outlets. I'm like, oh, we're being played. We this is 1984.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. We are being manipulated through media outlets into thinking in a specific way, but we're not talking about it because we think we are under some protective Western ideology, right?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like now my real question is, dude, how far does this corruption go?
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me into UFOs, bro. Because now I'm like, wait, is there actually a cabal of people, like really rich people, that are just changing the narrative? And is Trump going into office actually disrupting things and really pissing a lot of people off? Because he's like, no, I'm just going to go with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think?
Well, which one do I think? Like he's gonna release the truth? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Like, is he disrupting the status quo? And is there a freaking cabal being like, let's keep the status quo? Because you're like, it would have changed. Actually, not just you. TMZ said this too. If Kamala Harris had won, Mark Zuckerberg would not be saying these things right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I agree with you. I agree with you. But like, what does that mean about Kamala Harris then? You're like, bro, is that the industry standard with like money corruption and all that? Because like we know Biden pardoned his son, he pardoned the vaccine organizations. You're like, bro, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know? He's like, you cannot be like there's a meme going around like on his exit, he was like the president that pardoned the most people. You know? So I'm like, what does that mean, bro?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, how far reaching is this corruption? Is there secret technology that could save the world? And we're just hiding it because we're like, oh, economics has to rule all. We have to keep people enslaved monetarily. What do you
Right.
think? You think that's like too far reaching? But I'm like, we're talking about conspiracies here. And I'm like, a lot of
Mhm.
conspiracies are starting to be true. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of weird, bro.
Right. Right. Well, we don't know. We'll see.
Not what? Yeah, you just don't want to take a stance at all. You're like, all right, I'm just playing this even keel. Like you don't think anything nefarious is going on? Or you're just like, I'm gonna wait to let everyone else make the decision.
Anything nefarious?
Like, because you have to have it, like you must have a opinion on it. you know? Unless you're just like, just gonna let the chips fall where they may. I mean, like, I'm doing that too. I'm like, hey, I have no power in this thing. But I'm like, objectively looking at it, I'm like, this seems a little weird, guys. You guys figure it out. But I can admit that it seems a little weird.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things going on,
Yeah.
but I
That's
don't know what's real, what's
bro.
true, right? Is this is like what I'm going by is like
Bro,
with
that's I
what I'm saying
know.
is like with all this, the TikTok thing or whatever. This is the we're in an information war right now. That's the problem. So if any of this is not true, we're just fighting over nothing, right?
And you know what's crazy about this? I was thinking about this morning because I saw this meme where it's like they use this style of meme a lot, but I saw it for the first time. I like reshared on my stories where like there's this person like sitting on a stack of books and they see the earth, and then like the next person is like on a higher stack of books and they see like space, and then the last person is on the highest stack of books and they see the matrix, and they're like the more you know, something like that. And I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, too much information's kind of a bad thing, bro. I'm like, when you know how many things like work, like when
Yes.
you dive deep into like, let's just, all right, forget UFOs, bro. Just look at Looming Tower, the book.
Hmm.
You're like, bro, wait, we worked with Osama?
Hmm.
Like, wait, what? We funded the Taliban? What is going on? That's what I mean. I'm like, oh, maybe we shouldn't know how this game is played. There's a point where you're just like, TMI, bro. Like a point of diminishing returns for your information. You're just like, I just know way too much now. Like, I need to settle down, you
Right.
know?
Right.
And like what you said about the information war, I'm like, dude, that's where we're headed. It's like, it's too much information,
Yeah.
you know? Cause like you start tracing dots and you're just like,
Like we're
so the
it's not,
yeah,
even with all that, it's also like we're how do I say, like evolve, like we haven't evolved to be able to handle this kind of level of information as well,
totally,
right?
totally, totally,
This is so
totally.
like all
And
the changes so quickly. I don't know, like that's probably what's destroying the planet.
facts. But like also the other thing that's crazier to me is vetted sources. When I read these books that are extremely vetted, like UFOs and nukes, bro, dude, this guy's getting reports of like from Admiral. Like you can't just like put a book out there, bro. Like I unless it's like self-published. But like you can't I mean you can to a certain degree, like spirituality, you can put out like BS books, but like when you have references in the back of your book, you're just like, what? There's no way you're lying to me. Or like maybe you're swaying the but all right, not that you're not
Like you
lying to
really
me, but
have
like
to,
maybe you're
yeah,
presenting the information. But it's
yeah.
just
It's
like,
about presenting the
bro,
information. Yeah, I think you still have to read those vetted sources, but I don't know how many people are doing that, right?
totally. Okay, but how about this? How about when a lot of people are like, this is a really good book, and then you read it and you're like, bro, this has a lot of information, like the Looming Tower book.
Hmm.
Like, okay, so we're not even talking about UFOs. We're just talking about like 9/11,
Yeah.
like the Looming Tower, because that came out and like, oh, this is this. Everyone agrees that the reason why we failed, not we, America failed for 9/11 is because they weren't sharing information. FBI knew stuff, CIA knew stuff, and like they weren't like telling each other, and that's why the terrorists get through, right?
Hmm.
So we know this is true. Like they've all agreed on this.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like, yeah, this is what happened, right? So you read the book and you're like, okay, my first question is, why were you working with Osama? And then you're like,
Hmm.
because they're like, oh, he's a terrorist, he's a terrorist. And then you're like, no, he was like trained by us, America. And then he got swindled out of a deal and he got upset at you guys. And now he's fighting back using your tactics. You're like, this already sounds weird. This
Hmm.
is like a movie, bro. This is like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like, this is, you could almost, it depends on which way you spin the narrative, but he could almost be like the protagonist in a movie.
Hmm.
You know, they screwed me over. I was protecting my people. So now, if you watch like Dune,
Yeah.
Dune is like, or Star Wars,
Hmm.
that's kind of what's going on with this dude here, man. You know what I mean? And like, when you get to that level, you're just like, do I want to know that?
Hmm.
Because then you're like, are we the bad guys? What's going on? Who's
Right.
the bad guys? What's going on? Corruption, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. But then you're like, it goes back to my first question, like, how rampant is this corruption, bro? Like, do you think there's rampant corruption, or is it just me who's like read too many books? I don't know.
It's okay. How do I say it? Like, there could be corruption, but is the corruption affecting our lives? Because there's places where there's corruption where it affects people's lives. Just doing simple things.
Yeah, like, oh, the Philippines. Remember before the president came in, my dad was having all that issue with like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
paperwork
yeah,
because
yeah.
they wanted
Right.
to bribe him.
Yeah, exactly.
They want him to bribe them, right? And then I'm just gonna finish the story. And then
Sorry.
like the new president came in, and then like anti-bribery law, and
Mm-hmm.
then literally the next day we went to Baraka, and my dad's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, the paperwork went through," right? So like what you're speaking about is like I've seen that. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is like day-to-day corruption,
So
but
that
like
I
yeah,
think that's where is the there's always going to be corruption because there's always bad actors, but
yeah.
is the corruption affecting your life, just your daily life?
Okay, here we go. Here we go. I love that you said this. Yes. You know how I could say yes? Because it influences my choices, bro.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's or friggin' I don't know, Whole Foods takeout bar,
Okay.
right? So like if McDonald's is investing in a campaign that's so good because they want to make a profit
Mm-hmm.
at the expense of health, that's corruption. That's like corruption affecting my daily life because all you care about is making the sale.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about nutrition. You don't care about cancer. You don't care about disease. You don't care about anything, bro, except for making money. So
Right.
when you say like, how far reaching is the corruption? Does it affect your daily life? I'm like, yeah, it does. You just don't know it's affecting your daily life.
Right.
Could we potentially be in a world of infinite energy, but I'm slaving away, paying like rent and like making sure that these bills are paid on time, all because people want to keep us in this cage? Then that would be corruption affecting my daily life because this is the life that I'm presented with.
Mm-hmm.
So I would argue that yes, it does affect my daily life. Now you go because you were trying to make it seem like it didn't affect my daily life, but I'm like, it does, bro.
So so let's talk about the McDonald's thing. So
Okay, go on,
you
go on.
want more regulation from the government. So you want more money to the government to regulate so that we don't have.
No. I don't want any of that. No. I'm talking about corruption and non-corruption. Corruption is taking advantage of other people in order for yourself to profit. Like I
That's
will bend the
corruption. Would that
rules.
be called corruption?
Yeah,
What's the
like
def?
it's like all right, all right. Let's pull up the actual definition instead of my colloquial, because I'm like, oh, this is my interpretation. Let's just see what actually the definition of corruption is.
Okay. Corruption.
They're just like lawyering over this. Well, what is the specific
Okay, let's
term?
say okay. The first definition of it: dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in power, typically involving bribery. The
Okay.
second one is saying the process by which something, typically a word or expression, is changed from its original use or meaning to one that is regarded as erroneous or debased,
Okay. We'll go with the first one.
which is bribery.
Repeat the first one.
Dishonest or fraudulent
The
conduct by those in power, typically involving bribery.
typically involving bribery. You said it is bribery. Typically involving, meaning that like in most scenarios, it's bribery, but it could also be like duress. It could also be like the potential for profit.
Yeah, dishonest
So
or
I'm swapping that
fraudulent
because typically
conduct
is
by those in power.
yeah. We'll just
Dishonest
keep
or
it.
fraudulent conduct by those in power. Yeah, we'll leave
Okay,
it to
cool,
that.
cool, cool. So so is it corrupt if a cigarette company hires its own team to show that there is no link between cigarettes and cancer, even though other scientists do it? You're like, I'm going to hire this team to prove that there's no link.
Yeah, that's dishonest behavior. Yeah.
Right, but that happened, bro. It's thank you
Oh
for
yeah,
smoking.
yeah, yeah.
Elon Musk put his money into that and
Hmm.
like showed us all that this is what happens. So so if you know that McDonald's is not healthy for you, it's like widely known. The sodium count is like 2,000 times your daily dose. The fat count is like 2,000 times your daily dose. We know these things, but it's okay because we want to make a profit, right? So it's like
Wait, where's
that to
dishonesty in
me
that?
would be corruption because it's like you presenting it as like all right. So we'll go with the Beyond Meat burger. Well, it's healthier. It is healthier.
Hmm.
It is healthier. But even if it's like a 0.01%, because as a marketer, this is what I would do. It's like,
Yeah.
hey man, 0.01 means healthier. We didn't need to tell you it was 0.01. We just need to tell you it's healthier.
Hmm.
That's why I think that like putting the information on the back of the packets was the craziest thing. I was at Metro yesterday and I was like, oh man, I really want to buy some cookies. You know, I was like, oh, Lunar New Year cookies. All right, cool. I looked at the back. One cookie had like half of a Coke of
Right.
sugar. And I
Right.
was like, ooh, I can't. I can't. So that to me, that's what the news should be. That's what everything should be. Here's the information. You figure it out for
That's
yourself.
that's regulation.
Right. But like what I'm saying is that there's corruption amidst regulation. Even there's a battle between corruption and regulation. That's why
Well,
you need
yeah, yeah,
regulators to be
yeah,
like, hey, you're being
exactly.
corrupt, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like
Or
with
you're
the Mark
being
Zuckerberg
dishonest. You're
thing,
being dishonest. Yeah.
I'm dishonest.
Yeah.
Well, as a marketer, I would say I was being honest, bro. 0.01 technically is
Yeah, I get it. I
healthier.
understand what you're saying. Yeah, that's why they can't really take them to like court because they're not technically
Right.
lying. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. And that's the game we play. And that's why I'm like, the marketing is just the force, bro. Like good or evil.
Hmm.
I know the trick. Like I would use the trick too. But it's about ethics now. Like, do I want to use the trick on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like McDonald's Beyond Meat Burger, you're like, does corruption affect our daily life? It does because like that's why you see the Make America Healthy Again campaign with like RFK,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then like I saw like the I think it was like a congressional thing. They're like red number two has a direct link for cancer, but red number two is in so much of our food, so we're trying to get that banned. I'm like, okay, there's the corruption right there. You know, red number two causes cancer, bro. Like, you see the data, but like, technically, under these laws, we can let it go. So it's like, right, corruption's all about like skewing things in your favor,
Hmm.
right? So so corruption does affect our daily lives more subtly than it does in other parts of the world where it's like so overt. It's like, dude, that's obvious corruption. But now we're like, now we need to be clever and be like subtly corrupt.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's where I go back to like, dude, how corrupt is this world we're living in? Is it crazy corrupt? I'm like, bro, what are we doing here?
Maybe.
You know, like
We never know.
maybe, bro. And you're just like, what am I living in? You
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And that's why I definitely like honestly, Stephen Greer and Lou Elizondo are saying the exact same thing. They just don't want to listen to each other, right? But I agree more with Lou Elizondo in that because he's like, if we just became a benevolent species like CE5, like the meditation app that he has to contact aliens, he actually teaches you how to meditate. Like you're like
You're talking
you're
about
like,
Stephen
hey,
Greer, right? Stephen Greer or
Stephen Greer, yeah,
okay.
Stephen Greer.
Okay, I thought
He
you
has
said
like this
Lou
thing called
Zondo.
CE5. I Lou Elizondo and Stephen Greer are saying the same things, but I agree. Like I agree with what they're both saying.
Sure.
You
Right.
know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like Stephen Greer's like, hey, there's a corrupt entity out there because he has no gag order. Lou Elizondo's like, look into it a little further because there might be some bad actors because
Hmm.
he has a
Hmm.
gag
Hmm.
order. He signed an NDA. So Stephen Greer's like, oh, he's a plant. It's like, no, bro, you're both saying the same thing. He just has more legal things on him that he cannot say, right? And then Stephen Greer's like, oh, he's just like manipulating you, but it's like, no, he's just running under different rules,
Right. 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 Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but ignoring that, so Stephen Greer
Hmm.
was like, uh, here's how you contact aliens, right?
Mm.
By using his CE5 app, right? But in that thing, he's actually teaching you how to meditate.
Hmm.
It's not because you need to meditate in order to contact the aliens. I didn't play around with that. I'm like, dude, that's a little weird for me. Like, in case it does work, I don't want to be like, bro, all these aliens are coming to me now. I was like, chill out, bro. You
Right.
know, but like, um, Wim Hof did the exact same thing, and I was like, Wim Hof's a genius because he wants. Do you know the story of Wim Hof?
Yeah, I think from a while back now, but
So, like, but his wife committing suicide.
oh no, no, I don't remember that.
Okay, so Wim Hof is like the Iceman. He wants to like he was first on Vice, and when I saw that, I was like, dude, I want to learn that trick. And then I ended up taking his online program, right? And he started getting celebrities into the ice baths. That's why it got all popular. And people were like, oh, ice baths have been around for a while. But if you look at his story and his like interviews, the reason why he got into ice baths is because his wife committed suicide. And he was like, I need to figure out how to quell the mind, like stop the thoughts so that this can never happen again. Like,
Hmm.
I don't want people to kill themselves, right? Like his wife. And then he got into like demons, which is like interesting. And I was like at the time, I was like, ew, like, why are you talking about demons? But then after you and I talked about mental demons, I'm like, oh, I know what you meant now.
Hmm.
Like listening back to that, I was like, oh, you've been co-opted by a demon. Anyways, so like he sold the whole world about like overcome the cold, just like Stephen Greer's like talk to aliens, right? Because we need a hook. But in that, they're both teaching you how to meditate. And I think that when you learn how to like meditate and think about others and like quell the mind, you will not like fall into corruption. Because you're like, do I really want to do this thing? Oh, it's kind of seems a
Hmm.
little
Hmm.
shady,
Yeah.
you know? But like when you're in a fight or flight mode, you're like, I need to make more money than other people.
Right.
You haven't like stopped to think about your actions.
Yeah.
Then we get into corruption.
Hmm.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree
Because
with
I
that.
think if like I agree, like you can totally be as corrupt as you want, but if you're thinking like not with your mind, like your like monkey mind of like I need more than the other person, I need blah blah, blah, and you're like, man, I have enough, bro.
Hmm.
Like how many trillions do I need, bro? You
Hmm.
know, like,
Yeah, yeah. Right.
then you'll make better decisions. Yeah, so we're on the same page on that one.
Yeah, we're on the same page on that.
Yeah. Um. Any. I have one last thing, which is like pretty crazy, but any other things?
No. Which one is the crazy
Oh,
thing?
what do you think about? What do you think about the 51st state thing?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about that. I always liked America. I'm moving to
I
Hawaii then.
know, I
I become
know,
American citizen.
I know, I know, I know. I don't know how I
Uh,
feel about this one. I don't know how I feel about this one.
but again, it's
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
know.
gonna be it'll be like again. I don't know if it'll necessarily be good for Republicans though, but
Yeah. Joe Rogan was like, let's open it up to Mexico too. And I was like, Mexico's got some nice places, bro. But it's like, I don't know if that's actually gonna work. You're just talking out of your ass. Like you're just like making that up, you know?
yeah,
Like,
no, he really is. He's not in presidency yet, right? He's just I what I may feel is that all this information is either because it's so crazy that something else is happening that we're not focusing on.
oh yeah, that's true. You're right. It's like a false
It's
flag.
a
You're like,
false
or like
flag
a red
thing.
herring. You're like,
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
this,
yeah,
dude. This is gonna happen over here.
yeah.
You
But
know,
like, there's some like cabinet
that's
shifting or
true.
who he's picking that's not being
True.
up to the front. It's all like this 51st state, Greenland, Panama, or all that
True.
stuff.
True.
This is what
True.
we're taling about. What's actually happening?
True.
And all this shifted
That
happening.
is.
Like all this happened, or like very like more of this is like after that H-1B visa stuff. What was the thing that was separating? Because we don't trust Elon now, right? There's some MAGA people that are like
Oh yeah.
that.
True.
So in order to hide that information, this came out as a bigger thing.
Dude, are you even playing?
Well, I
Like,
think
what's going
so.
on? You know what I mean?
It's possible. Yeah, of course.
Did so? Trump said that he is going to. Okay, so there's been a lot of UAP UFO momentum about like this like secret government kind of thing, like with Stephen Greer. And remember, I don't know if I told you in like the last podcast, but like within 30 days, a whistleblower is going to come out and like
Right.
tell
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
right? And Stephen Greer was like, um, the people who are running this like cabal of, like UFO conspiracy stuff, they don't want Trump to come in office, and that's why they showed their power at this time in New Jersey. They're like, here's our freaking UFOs, and like Stephen Greer is saying that that organization is threatened by this new administration. Okay, so I saw recently that this isn't the crazy one, but I saw that Trump was like within the first few days, he's gonna tell all about the UFOs. He's like, we know what it is. I don't know why we're keeping a secret. I'm just gonna tell you guys as soon as I come into office. And I'm like, January 20th is like just under a week away or something, like just over a week away. And I'm like, this could be a crazy administration. Like we're about to like buckle up, this could be insane going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if he's just like, yeah, there's a cabal, there's anti-gravitics, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
we have this technology. We'd be like, bro, there's cyberpunk future. Give us the tech, Okay. So the craziest one that I'm going to talk about now is the Cybertruck attack.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? I'm assuming you didn't look at the.
No, it was all over the internet
podcast?
at the time.
No, the podcast. Sean
No,
Ryan's
I didn't see the
podcast. I sent you
podcast.
the dog. Okay, so you tell me what your narrative is on the Cybertruck one, because I'm sure you saw the mainstream
So
narrative. So like, I didn't look at that. I didn't even know. I was like, oh yeah, Cybertruck attack. That's crazy. Whatever, whatever. And then Sean Ryan's like, everyone listen to this podcast. I'm like, all right, sure. And I listened to him like, dude, this is insane. Go ahead.
yeah,
What's
no,
the narrative?
well, no, that was the narrative, and then other people within. Well, this is all the internet's right. So, um,
No. Well, what's the narrative? I'm saying like what did you see about the Cybertruck attack? Just like,
yeah,
oh,
and then the manifesto, right? And the manifesto with that for the guy that was in the Cybertruck, or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I heard that they blamed it on him finding out his wife was cheating on him.
no, they're still investigating, but then the same guy that said it in his Sean Ryan's podcast had talked to the guy's family and that he was on these what do you call these, like crazy medications or something.
Okay, sure. Okay, totally. So,
like for PTSD and stuff like that.
Right. So that is what they talked about, where they always do this, where they try and shift the narrative towards you being crazy. And they did this with the UFO thing. Hold on,
Go.
Because you're like, oh no, but I'm
talking
is crazy.
About, the other narrative from the I don't think it was from the FBI or something, that they're not denying of the manifesto.
Because yes, totally. All right, yeah, totally. So, so what they do oftentimes when these things happen is they present you as being crazy, especially when it's like related to UFOs. So when David Grush came out and he's like, I was the head of a task force, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think a week later, they're like, oh, he's crazy. He's on PTSD. He had they leaked his medical records basically. And then he's like, you can't do that. That's illegal. So he's suing the government for the leak of his medical records. And they say that if you are experiencing PTSD, we suggest that you look at these resources, whatever. And he David Grush was like, you are using my health history as a way to discredit my information.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you see the same tactic happening again. Like you just said, he's on a bunch of meds. You're like, dude, that's their MO. That's what they do. They're just like, oh, you're just crazy, bro. Okay. So it's hard to argue that David Grush is crazy when you put him in front of on top of the task force list, but we won't go on that one. But then his whole history is highly credentialed. So on the Sean Ryan thing, and I was like, this is insane. So the guest he had on, so that guy who did the Cybertruck attack, he was blasting DMs and emails to every single person he knew, like famous people like Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan, And on the podcast, they like, so he's like, hold on, let me take a break. Let me just scrub my email, see if he emailed. Oh my God, dude, he emailed me. Let me check my DMs because I get 5,000 a day. Oh my God, dude, he DM'd me. So that guy was trying to get the information out. And the only reason why that this person had like correct, like insider access to the thing is he was like, no, I'm the only one who opened the email because he wasn't a part of a big information thing. It would be no different. Like he had like a mediocre platform, not crazy, but like he had a gateway into like bigger platforms like Sean Ryan and Joe Rogan. That's why he was on the Sean Ryan show as a guest. But it would be no different than like him emailing us and we'd be like, what is this? Or just have him a guest. You know what I mean? Like it was a lower tier person to get to the upper tiers.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you look into the manifesto at all? Because they read it on the thing. I was like, dude, this is insane.
Yeah. I saw bits of it. Yeah,
Okay.
I read bits of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they read it on the podcast. And first, it was about war crimes related in 2019 that he witnessed. He's like, dude, these are war crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talked about that it related directly to the New Jersey drones. And he was like, this is anti-gravitic technology, anti-grav. And the only person he's like, they it's not aliens. There's only two countries that have cracked this, which is China and the US. And they've been hiding this from us for so long. And if you look into American Alchemy, there was a woman who America took her because she cracked anti-gravity. And then China took her back and she went missing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, dude, this person like cracked anti-gravity. So both sides have somehow figured this out. And that's what he's saying. He's like, the reason why he wants to make a big statement about this, he was trying to email everyone, is he's like, this is World War III ending, oh, like game over technology. Because if you have anti-gravitic technology, you could just like put a nuke on the UFO, drop the nuke, like instantaneously drop the nuke on this place. And that would just be like World War III and we'd have like total destruction. And he's like, we just need to know that this technology's out there. And that's why he wanted to make a big thing of it. And the crazier part is Sean Ryan and that dude, they're both Navy SEALs. They're like, this dude is like a high operator, the one who killed himself. They think he's alive. They're like, we think, oh, damn it. Why is it every time we talk about conspiracies, this like animation comes up? Because I do 2 thumbs up. But they think he's alive, bro. They're like, we think that he was doing this as like a publicity stunt in order to get the information out. Now we're reading the manifesto.
Right.
And they're like, there's no way he shot himself. Like the way that they explained all the things. And they're like, he's an intelligence operative. He chose a Cybertruck because he knew that it wouldn't explode too big, but it would make enough of a statement that people would read his manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the frig is going on, bro? Whereas the media's like, no, he's just crazy, whatever. And Sean Ryan and the other dude are like,
well, the guy talked
like,
to, well,
hey,
supposedly the guy talked to the guy's family.
who?
So
The guest?
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I didn't look.
No, there was something else after the podcast to some other podcast where he's like, he talked to the family of the guy that he had.
And what did he say?
He had stopped taking his meds or something. That's what he said.
Okay, sure. Okay, cool. But again, it's like now we're looking at like basically what Sean Ryan did and this guy did was they like, hey FBI, here's all my information. You guys figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm like, I'm also in that boat. I'm like, guys, you need to figure this out because this is insane right now. And like, sure, he stopped taking his meds, whatever. That's all rhetoric. Let's look at what he's saying about the manifesto. It's like, again, we're looking at like the red herring instead of the mechanism here, bro. It's like totally sure. Maybe he didn't take his meds and now he's like off the wall. But maybe we should all look into what he's saying in his manifesto because a lot of things are lining up here. Like in terms of Stephen Greer, Lou Elizondo, Trump coming into office, what you said in your manifesto about global cabals, American alchemy, James Fox. Dude, is like, there's just so much information that you're like, has there been And you see it in anime too. I'm watching like Yu Yu Hakusho right now, and like there's this segment where the leaders of the world were betting on this fight between the main characters or whatever. And I was like, wait a minute, leaders of the world betting trillions of dollars on certain things. I'm like, is this real?
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that storytellers read into all this stuff and they're like, let me just make this into a story. And you're like, oh, it's just a story. But you're like, where did you get the idea for this?
Hmm.
You know? Like like if I was a like an anime writer, I'd be like, here's a great pitch for a story. Because I've been looking into this. Let's just spin it towards this like this arc in this anime, you know? But
Right.
like how true is this information is what I'm saying. Like,
Mm.
I don't care if he's crazy, bro. Sure, he's crazy. But like look into what he's saying. Cause a lot of things are coming up. And I'm like, what's going on, bro? How far is this corruption spreading?
Hmm.
Like, what do you think? You're like, nah, dude. No way.
Uh, I don't know. I guess they are looking into it, right? Isn't that what they're still investigating?
They are.
Yeah,
No, no, for sure, for sure. Right, 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 right. But what I'm saying is like
they haven't stopped
this
investigating.
for sure. No, no. On this issue, I'm saying like he was tapping into a bigger issue here. He's like, no, there's anti-gravitics on China's side and USA side. I'm like, dog, they've been saying that for so long. So I'm like, okay, like, yes, they're looking into it, but let's not look at the problem. Let's look at the whole history of everything you just brought to light, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
like
I understand what you're
you're like,
saying.
yeah, look into his background. It's like, yeah, okay, his background, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh no, no,
how
I
long
didn't.
has
I
this
don't
been
think I
going
said
on?
that to
Yeah.
look into the background.
No, no, but you're like, oh, they're looking into it. I'm like, yeah, but like looking into him or looking into it? Because a lot of people are looking into him, just like the David Grush thing. Like, oh, he's crazy. You know, he has PTSD. You're like, don't look at the messenger, bro. Look at the message.
Yeah, 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 right.
And I'm like, how many people are looking into the message is what I'm saying. I'm like,
Hmm.
dog, this is looking like hella weird right now. And I think that's why like I'm kind of excited to see what happens on January 20th. Like, is Trump gonna be like, hey guys, this corruption's crazy?
Hmm.
And you're like, oh my God. Because like people in Congress know, like if you look at these documentaries that I've been sending you, like Battle for Disclosure and like James Fox's The Program, he has congressional people on there, and those like congressional people are like, yeah, there's something weird going on.
Hmm.
So it's like, is there a shadow government that's controlling the things we see in place of our presumed government? Or is that like such a far reaching? You're like, there's no way there's a shadow government.
Is the shadow government, as you're saying, working not? So they're working not on behalf of us or Americans or whatever, right?
No, no, no. They are okay.
Working
No,
on
no. Hold
behalf
on.
of
Wait a minute.
themselves.
So the government is meant to regulate people, right? Like do the bidding of us, right? Like you keep order. A shadow government is working, could be in parallel with the government, but we don't know about it.
Hmm.
So you're like, so what you're suggesting is like maybe they're doing good for us. Maybe they are. I don't know their motive, right? Just like the whole like mechanism thing we talked about earlier in the podcast.
Sure.
Like I don't care about motive, but should the mechanism be there is what I'm saying. Should the government censor news information? I don't know. That sounds like 1984 to me. Should there be a shadow government that's actually ruling things in like parallel to the government? I don't know. That sounds a little weird to me. But like, regardless of if there's an altruistic motive or not, seems a little weird to me. So I don't
Hmm.
care about like motive. I care about mechanism here. Like, should that be allowed? Should that be a possibility? Because then we don't have any say in it. If it's a shadow government, it's beholden to itself, not the people.
Hmm.
So now with that in mind, what do you think about like, do you think that there's a possibility of shadow government?
I don't know.
A lot of them are saying it's there, which is like, bro, if you're saying
Yeah,
it's
I
there,
need to
what are we
know what they
doing?
mean by the shadow government, right? Are they working on projects
No, no,
or like?
shadow government is literally just has no accountability to the American people because they don't exist,
Well, then I don't disagree
quote
with
unquote.
that.
They do
Yeah.
exist.
No, then
They,
I
no,
would be
like
against
they,
that, right? It should be quote unquote for the American public or like for the people. Yeah, working for the people.
but they could be like, we are for the people. What I'm saying is like, as a shadow government, we're quote unquote not supposed to know they exist. But it's like, that seems a little weird to me. So
Hmm.
there's a government that we see, and then there's a government we don't see. The fact that we don't see the government is weird to me.
Hmm.
You agree?
Yeah, yeah,
Like yeah, right? It's
yeah,
a little weird.
yeah.
And that's where I'm like, dude, where's this corruption? Like, this is crazy corruption because, like, if even the fact that some Congress people are like, this is going on, there's a shadow government, you're like, you guys need to look into that. Like,
Hmm.
there's a shadow government. Nobody thinks that's crazy. Cause, like, Stephen Greer's like, that's treason. And I'm like, that is freaking treason, bro. Like, you
Right.
are. And that's why he didn't get sued. So a lot of people were like, we're going to kill you to Stephen Greer. But
Mm-hmm,
what he did
hmm.
was he has like a SWAT team that protects him. But then a lot of people were like, oh, we're going to take you to court for like the slander. He's like, bring me to court because then we'll have to subpoena these Congress people and get them under oath saying all the things that I'm saying. And that's why they've never sued him because then it becomes like brought into light, and like legally you perjure yourself. Are you working on a secret project? Yes or no? you know and
Right.
that's why he welcomes being sued. And then, like I said, Lou Elizondo is working on subpoenaing these people now.
Hmm.
So like they're both coming at it to try and like shed light on this shadow government. But really what this comes down to is my initial question at the beginning of this podcast is, how far reaching is this corruption? If there's a shadow government, that is freaky, bro, because you're like, bro, how corrupt is our society,
Hmm.
is our world,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
And does that freak you out or no? You're just like, whatever.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's real, right? I don't know if that's true or is this
But
this.
you,
No, no. What I'm saying is like,
but
are
like,
we fighting the information war that the other side is doing, right?
so wait. So you don't think, no, there is no other side because like, this isn't social media. They aren't like on social media. These are Congress people being like, I'm getting black, like I'm hitting a wall. I can't see these budgets.
Hmm.
And then they're like, dude, we literally are seeing UFOs with anti-gravitic technology.
Hmm.
So it's like, that there's something there. So there's no like misinformation with social media here. It's like, these are the facts.
Hmm.
And the facts are pointing to a shadow government. Right. Or no, you don't think so. You think it's still just like China manipulating us into thinking that there's a
I
shadow
don't know. I
government.
don't know where it's top secret projects, right? That I don't know if Congress has
Right.
the
So
access to
so
those
top
things, right?
secret. But that's what the shadow government is. That is what they're saying. That it's so top secret that even the president isn't briefed on it. But if the president isn't briefed on it, then the government's not briefed on it.
Hmm.
And if the government's not briefed on it, the government's for the people, right? So you have a separate government entity that's working outside of the law.
Hmm.
But they're coming forward and saying that literally this is happening. Like, it's so black budget that we can't see it. But it's like, it's so black budget that the president couldn't even see it. That seems a little weird
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah,
because the president's supposed to oversee.
yeah.
But that's what we're talking about here. And they're all saying that this is happening. And it's like, okay, what? It's not even social. It's not social media. It's literally them in their
No,
own
no, no.
thing.
I
They're just
understand
like,
that.
I
Yeah,
can't see this project.
but do we know that the president can't see it? Is that no?
That's why I'm waiting for Trump to come to office because allegedly Obama was briefed on this project. Biden was briefed on this project.
So they
Trump
have
was sort of
information
briefed
on it.
on the project. Yeah, there are people that say we briefed the president,
Oh,
but
so
it's like,
so is that
okay,
hidden then?
so what do you mean
If they were briefed on
that
the
that they briefed
project,
them?
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how far does this corruption go? Does the president know about it? And he's like, oh, let's keep that one a secret, guys. And it's like, are they paying off the president? I don't know. Like, what are we doing?
No, I don't. Either if the president knows and they're telling each time there's a new president that's there, right?
Allegedly. Like, I don't know.
No, what I'm saying is like
That's
then
why.
it's not.
Okay.
Then it's not. What do you call it?
Then it's not a shadow government
Yeah,
because the president knows about it.
right.
But what if you're
Because we agreed that
bribing,
if
like we're talking about corruption?
no, we agree that if the president doesn't know about it and stuff is happening, then it's a shadow government, right? If the president does know about it, and these are projects that are secret projects, right?
Right. So what I'm saying is those are all alleged briefings, right? Those are all alleged briefings, like the Trump, the Bush one, the Obama one, the Biden one. Those are alleged briefings. But we know that Trump said he was briefed on it. That's why he said, we all know what this is. I know what this is. I'm going to come out as soon as I come on into office and let everyone know what it is. I'm like, bro, what? So like, maybe it's not a shadow government. Maybe it's just so top secret that only the president knows.
Mhm.
But come January 20th, we might find out that there's UFOs and like reverse engineered downed alien space. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that could be crazy, bro.
Right.
And then cyberpunk future. Here we go.
Sure.
Because it's like,
Yeah, I'm down for that.
because once you have the once you have the anti-gravitics, like if Trump's like, yeah, we have anti-gravitics on January 20th, January 21st, it's like, okay, cool. Scientists, figure out how to do this and let's get ourselves infinite energy.
Mm-hmm.
But that would disrupt everything because then like the stock markets would be like, how do we pay for oil? Like we talked about before, if it's too disruptive and our whole system is based off of oil, and then you all of a sudden introduce like 0 point energy, it's like, well, what do we do with this stock market wise, bro? Because like, goodbye Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, what do you mean that's fine? Like, but that could totally disrupt our entire like way of life. Because
No.
then it's like our stock market would crash because we're like, how do we introduce anti-gravitic?
I don't
How
think
do we have?
I don't
like,
think it'll
infinite energy?
necessarily crash like that. See, it's just energy, right? We still need other products. Do we have aluminum, like
That's
an
true.
abundant of aluminum, or like those kinds of things that we still use?
No, but then it becomes a power shift. It becomes like Saudi Arabia wouldn't get all our money now, and then all of a sudden Dubai would lose all its money, and then what happens in Dubai? Are we going to go into a war because they want to make sure that they keep their gravy train flowing? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
if
It's
U.S.
like,
is the one
this
that's going to
disrupts
be in
everything.
the power, right? Then
Then what?
that it doesn't matter, right? That's why those countries know that oil is not like if they only rely on oil, then they have a problem. That's why they're trying to do tourism and things
They
like
have
that
yeah,
to survive,
true.
right?
Oh yeah, true. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, they have like a clock that's like ticking towards
Yeah, and that's
us.
why
And
they're
then,
focusing on tourism and stuff like that, right?
fair point. Fair point. Did you know that New York's? Oh damn! I really gotta go. I just saw the time. Did you know that New York's main source of economics is tourism?
No.
I didn't know that either. I was like, but that makes total sense. I saw it on like a documentary or something. They just said it like nonchalantly, like, oh no, it was
I don't know if
reality
that's
TV. We were watching
true.
Southern Charm.
Is that true? I don't know. Or is
No,
that
no,
Wall Street?
yeah. So no, because Wall Street is like no, because that's like country that they're just the home of like how trades happen, but that's not actually coming from them.
But
It's like it's just
yeah.
where trades happen.
No, I know, but I thought finances was like I don't know. I have to look into it, but it's possible. Tourism may
But
be possible. Yeah.
so we're watching it's so funny. We're at Southern Charm right now and the season is COVID and like seeing all the social distancing and stuff and like them being like, you have it? Oh my God, that's crazy. And like reliving that, I'm like, oh my God, it's funny because we were so worried about it, but it was like the flu. But watching them like freak out, just like, oh, you have it now. Oh my God. And anyways, but that's where I heard the thing of like, because they were talking about New York shutting down and they're like the biggest economic source of money or whatever for New York is tourism, because people in the show have like restaurants and they had to close down and like whatever. That's where I heard it. But it's funny reliving COVID because you're like, wow, we really blew that one way out of proportion, bro. Like we really thought it was like the end of the world watching like their fear. But I agree with you too. I was like, I was worried too. But then like,
Yeah, they're
it
worried.
wasn't
Yeah.
that bad, you know?
Well, I don't know if it
No,
was.
but it's funny like reliving it because you're like, oh wow, we really what?
No, I'm not.
Oh, the death toll, I mean?
Yeah, the death toll. I mean, they were feared because of what was happening inside China, right?
No, totally. But
Yeah.
like in Charleston in Southern Charm, they actually got rid of lockdowns. So in the show,
Mm.
like they're one of the first few places where they were able to do normal stuff. But like you can see the hypocrisy, which is so funny. Cause like, do you remember like, hey, just keep your mask on as you walk to the restaurant table, but once you get to the table, take the
Yeah, that's
mask
what
off.
was
And you're
stupid.
like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're making fun of that on the show. And then like post that, you're like, that does like seem pretty dumb.
Yeah.
You know,
I
like
know we mentioned that too. Probably it doesn't make no sense.
we did. Right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I gotta go. One, I'm head 10th planet. Whoa, it's so funny because like people are like 10th planet is like the crazy jujitsu people because it's based off Eddie Bravo who believes
Yeah, right,
in
right.
conspiracies and like right, you know what I mean? Like, oh, there's just like aliens and stuff. But what I think the magic of 10th planet is they take that conspiracy mindset of like, does this work? Yes or no? Is this true? Yes or no? And they apply that to their jujitsu because a lot of the moves are just like, if it doesn't work, throw it out. And you're
Mhm.
like, wow, I like that approach. You know, it's like, dude, it's not working. Stop using it.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah. Just a little plug for 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. Till next week. Take it easy, fish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, fish.
Peace.